Good evening, internets. By the time I'm here or recording this, almost midnight, or good morning by the time you read this. Just the camera here, because I'm not in my final place. The camera will be better positioned eventually in the future when we go to the final name. I'm going to wait till I'm in the house and got everything together for that. But let's talk about what's going on with the courts. What kind of touched this off was, of course, Tim Pool got swatted, along with the quartering getting swatted. The quartering, Jeremy ended up with face down and cuffed, and Tim Pool ended up with a live stream that went over 4 hours because they've spent 3 hours of it pretty much with nothing going on. I just clicked through. I missed seeing the cops actually come in the room and search around. But, we got people thinking that's cool. It's not. Quite frankly, it should result in permanent jail time. But this goes on to threats against judges and our judicial system. Because in the last couple of days, we had a Supreme Court justice almost get killed. Because people can't accept that sometimes a ruling's not going to go your way. All of us on the conservative side that don't agree with same-sex marriage, we had to accept that ruling. We had to accept the Obamacare ruling. We've had to accept a lot of rulings. Now the things have shifted and jurisprudence is looking at things a little more toward an originalist angle, which is the only angle it should be used. Some leftists think it's okay to assassinate judges because a man was arrested at just a few blocks from Justice Brett Kavanaugh's house. Guy was upset over the Supreme Court leaked opinion, draft opinion. He was upset over the possibility of them not upholding gun control measures. Gun control measures being very blatantly unconstitutional. Some people can make some arguments about abortion, maybe, but you can't make one about gun control, because we have it very spelled out in the Second Amendment. This pre-existing right shall not be infringed. And this all started with, over the last few years, and I will look at my link here, since 2015, there's been an increase in threats against federal judges as a whole, 387%. Essentially, it's almost gone up to 5 times the number, from 926 in 2015 to 4,511 threats in 2021. That's not good. Sometimes you have to accept a ruling you don't like, but we can't have judges being threatened. And then our wonderful Mr. Let's Go Brandon thought it was okay that people protested outside the homes of justices. This man, and most Democrats, do not have a respect for any kind of legal proceedings unless it benefits them. During the Rittenhouse trial, he tried to, and during the trial involving Derek Chauvin, the man who had his neck on George Floyd, was trying to make comments, trying to influence the jury. Now, I didn't get to watch either trial closely, but I got to see a lot more of the Rittenhouse trial, and quite frankly, the jury got it right there. But you can't have people protesting outside a jury member's home, doxing jury members, and that stuff people were dancing around and getting close to doing that. You can't have justice if you're threatening judges or jurors or trying to pressure them from outside. Their job is to look at what are the facts, what's the law, how does that apply? It's the only thing they can look at. And now we got people thinking it's okay to influence them that way. The judicial system is to be there to say it doesn't matter how much the majority thinks something, it is what the law is. It seems undemocratic because it is. That is part of the limit of what the majority can do to the minority. And it really makes people real angry when a judge throws out a popular law. That's a sign maybe you need to rethink the higher law that's being used. If your justification for something is not constitutional, maybe it's time to change the law. The Roe v. Wade ruling, if things go as expected, just means that states can do what they want on the matter. Potentially the federal government could do so if you could argue federal power isn't even in that area. And very arguably it's not, and I don't honestly think that it is. Outside of perhaps saying federal murder charges could apply to something like that. But you can't have that. And the fact is, it is actually illegal to by federal law to protest that's directed at a judge or a jurist to influence the outcome. You can stand on the corner down here at the Mount Vernon Cornhouse. I think they still have the guys out there a couple times a week with their anti-war signs. You can still do that because it's not directed at trying to influence a case. Perfectly legal. I may not agree with you, but I support your right to do it. But to stand there, excuse me, to stand there and try and say, find this man guilty. We don't judge people guilty or innocent in the court of public opinion. You don't judge somebody, law, constitutional or not, in the court of public opinion. That's why judges have a lifetime appointment. A judge has to be able to say, they're not going to like this, but it's the right thing to do, rather than worrying about whether they'll keep their job if they rule the wrong way. And that's why they have a lifetime appointment. It seems like, how can you let somebody be up there for 30 years? But that's why they set that lifetime appointment. That's why you have to think about it hard. Why I didn't want Ketanji Brown Jackson on the Supreme Court. I don't think a person that can't define what a woman is should be on the Supreme Court. I think that's a clear sign of incompetence. Okay? So, this needs to stop. The same with doxing of judges. Same with going to their house and protesting. And this basically lawless president that we have, they need to be stepping up and arresting people for going there and doing so. When state authorities in Virginia wanted to do something, there were local officials that said, oh, we're not going to send police there. So what are you going to do when a justice gets killed? That's going to be on you if you don't. So you will find that's the long and short of it. It needs to stop. Doxing people needs to stop, especially judges. Because at some point, someone's going to decide, hey, I know where this person lives, and someone's going to end up dead. And then what are you going to do? You're going to say, oh, it wasn't my fault. And now some of those protesters are going back to Justice Kavanaugh's house after someone was there with the intent to kill him. The man showed up with zip ties and duct tape and burglary tools and a Glock with a couple of magazines. How long does that have to go on? And for all you that might want to say, well, look at those magazines. That's an argument for gun control. No, it's not. It's an argument against it. Because if that hadn't been for U.S. Marshals there causing the guy to panic, maybe Justice Kavanaugh would have had to defend himself. A lot harder to do in Maryland with their ridiculous gun laws. Then that larger than 10-round magazine might have come in pretty handy. So, in the description below, you will find the article talking about the increase in threats on judges and how much it has increased and how fast. You will find 2 articles about the attempted murder of Justice Kavanaugh and something from PolitiFact discussing that it is illegal to protest outside a justice's home. You'll find all that in there. A lot of times you want to use liberal sources because that keeps liberal Democrats from complaining, oh, that's just Fox News. Yeah, well, here's your own sources that you like. One from the BBC, one from the Washington Post, discussing two of those articles. So think long and hard about this and think about who's willing to put up with it and who's not. And it's one party that wants to not do so because Congress has not been willing to take up. They've passed it through the Senate to tighten up security at justices' houses. They haven't done it in the House. Where's Nancy Pelosi on this? Where's Rick Larson for those of us up here in Washington? Where are they in passing that legislation? They seem to be MIA. So you all have a good one, and we'll see you another day.